Go, hey, little mama, I could transform ya. No, I can't dance, but I could dance on ya. Swiss on the beat, Chris, move your feet. And baby, I could transform you, him to a me. I could change your life, make it so new. Make you never wanna go back to the old you. So rock and line, give it a little time. And she gon' transform like Optimus Prime.
Need a ride, I can range you up. Money, I can change you up. You can.
Hi everyone, this is Miss Pink Glitz, and today I'm going to be doing a yellow and pink tutorial. So I'm going to take a shadow brush from e.l.f. Cosmetics. I'm going to be using that to pick up the yellow pigment. In this particular case, I'm using Queso eyeshadow from Pink Stiletto Cosmetics. It's a loose shadow, so I'm just patting it on to the first inner half of my lid. I'm going to repeat this on the other eye. Now I'm blending it slightly above the crease, so that way it makes it easier to blend into my highlight shade. Make sure you get the corners and the inner corner of the eye. I'm also putting some on the lower lash line. Okay, so now I'm blending that in a little bit more. And I'm going to be using my second shade, which in this particular case is going to be Boy Crazy eyeshadow. Boy Crazy eyeshadow is a hot pink, and that's also available from Pink Stiletto Cosmetics. I'm going to be patting that on to the outer section of my lid here. And you just pat it to prevent fallout. Now, unfortunately, due to the lighting that I needed to apply this, you can't really see the true shade of this color. You'll be able to see it in the still shots at the end of the video. But it's a nice hot pink. Okay, so now that I'm applying that on the outer corner, I've got to blend where the two colors meet. So what I do is I kind of draw the color into each other. Then I get something that I'm going to use to blend. In this particular case, I'm going to be using the actual shadow brush itself. Now that the lines are together, I'm taking a pencil brush from Sigma Beauty, and I'm using it to smear the line. You're actually blending it by bringing one color into another. In this case, I'm bringing the pink into the yellow. And this helps create a secondary color, which will be orange. And now that I have the orange in the middle, it actually looks like I have 3 eyeshadow shades. This is a sign of good blending, when you have 2 colors creating another one. Okay, a little more blending. And I'm fixing here to make sure that the shape is well and that they're symmetrical, because you do want them to look the same on both sides. Here I'm using some Boy Crazy on the outer half of my lower lash line to meet up in the middle with the Queso on the bottom as well. Here I am doing a little more blending to touch up. I really like my eyeshadow to look the same or as close as possible on both eyes. And now I'm blending up into the area where I'm going to apply my highlight, so it's above the crease. I'm showing you in detail here now. Just blending back and forth slowly and softly. And you want to go ahead and use a soft touch when you're blending. If you apply too much pressure, you actually end up fading out your color completely. Now, I'm taking the shadow brush again, and I'm going to be applying Ice Cream, which is a matte white by Pink Stiletto Cosmetics. I'm going to be applying that above where I applied the 2 shades, right onto my brow bone in the highlight area. I've blended that in so it's not such a stark white, and I'm doing that on the other eye as well. Blending again. And this is where the blending I did before with the hot pink becomes important, because now I just kind of got to diffuse the color into the pink already. Some looks I highlight first. In this particular look, I left the highlighting for last because I really wanted it to be intense. Now I'm taking the same Ice Cream shade and I'm putting it into my inner corners. This also helps open up the eye and brighten up your look. Now I'm going to be taking a makeup wipe to clean up my edges. And if you don't use tape when you put on your eyeshadow, this is also an excellent method to remove the excess color that's below where your outer eye, the outer V of your eye is. So I just use the makeup wipe, wrap it around my finger, and swipe up at an angle. Now here I'm blending the Boy Crazy into the Queso at the lower lash line. And you only need a slight amount of blending there. Now here I'm taking Meteor, which is also loose eyeshadow, and I'm using it wet to create a liner. And I really like Meteor as a liner just because it's black. It definitely is black, but it's not as black as, say, my blackout liner. So when I'm using really, really bright colors, but I still want the look to be dramatic, but not too intense with the liner, I use Meteor. And it has sparkle to it, which also is another reason. Very fun and playful, especially for summer. So I'm just making sure that I've got the liner on into the inner corners. I'm just using a Angles liner brush and Meteor and a little bit of water. Now I'm going to be lining my lower lash line, my inner waterline rather, and that's also known as tight lining. I'm just doing it a little bit to help define the eye some more. Oh, cleaning up again. Now I'm going to be using a blush, and this particular blush is called Sun Kissed. It's also by Pink Stiletto Cosmetics. It's like a bronzer and blush in one. Looks beautiful on all skin tones. I've used this particular shade on fair tones as well as deep tones, and still creates a beautiful glow regardless what skin it's on. Now I'm using Powder Pink eyeshadow by Pink Stiletto Cosmetics as my highlighter in this case. Normally I use Pretty Powder and Pearls, but I really wanted to intensify the highlight for a super summer glowy look. So now that I've done that, I'm going to take a big powder brush that helps blend my highlight into my blush shade, which is really important when you want to prevent there being a line where your highlighter and blush meets. Here I've added a little highlight to the tip of my nose as well as to the middle of my forehead between my eyebrows, because that's an excellent area to highlight as well. There goes my puff brush, blending the highlight into the blush. And now, of course, one of the next steps is going to be lipstick. Don't we all love that part? In this particular case, I am using a lipstick called Sahara. It's a lip whip from Pink Stiletto Cosmetics. And I am actually using it over a clear gloss that I already had on my lips because I wanted to kind of mute the color down. It's almost an orange creme brulee type of shade. In this particular case, I've lightened it because I've put it on top of another product. If you love oranges or warm orange tones, this is a great color to use well into the fall. I've put a little bit of mascara on. Here I'm fixing my hair. Of course, diva time. Gotta do the hair. And that's it. That is a really quick and easy summertime look. I've used my highlight, and I've used 2 colors on my lids, creating 3 shades. And also highlighted the inner corners. My brows are set already, and I used a lip whip and blush, some highlight. And that is the finished look, ladies. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, pardon me, for watching. Bye-bye.